assumption from there. Follow that down.
Kyle, we made a huge mistake. We should have roleplayed this entire thing as you were a Boston tour guide.
Explain.
That's what tomorrow's for.
And then did I get to show up as the drunken local?
Or engaged with the plot as, like engage as little as possible.
Okay, engage not at all with the plot and just walk around tour guiding the stream.
Yes.
As a Boston tour guide, as a person from California who has lived not even close to Boston for about 2 years now.
Allege that thing, be like, and here's the Statue of Liberty.
Kyle, who is to tell you are incorrect?
So here is a beautiful example of Massachusetts infrastructure. Now, the reason that Governor Deval Patrick thought that was a great idea is that the Massachusetts infrastructure could save a lot of money by, instead of the cars having to
Drive on the road.
Well, no, so they are driving on the road, but the thing is, when they drive just on the road down a hill like that, they lose a lot of traction. And especially in the snow, which happens about 7 months a year in Massachusetts, they lose a lot of traction. It becomes really
7 to
unsafe.
9, 7
So
to
what
9.
they do is they build in these really nice gaps. And that way, they're called traction-proof safe gaps. And what they do is, when they start to lose traction, instead of losing traction and spinning around, they go off these gaps, you see.
The forces of gravity actually take over to continue you in the
Correct.
proper direction.
It's a beautiful feat of engineering. They actually consulted MIT for this. I can't. God. We've made a huge mistake.
My father worked on the Union with that job. He lost his finger.
We all worked beside the Kennedys. Oh, well, that was a terrible Boston accent. Oh my God,
Never
I can't.
do that again. We're gonna go through voice coaching before you try that again.
I will kill myself before I go through voice coaching for a Boston accent.
Well, I do have sharp razor blades in the bag.
Deal.
Today was supposed to end on an upbeat day. I guess it will.
So again, this is a different example. It's been implemented a little differently.
No, well, see? Listen. Now we can keep talking, right?
So
Yes.
this is actually how we can see. So there. Oh, hang on. Let me.
Oh, Lord.
Let me get back to the lesson in just a second, everybody.
This is a, standard New England smackhead. Yeah, this is either yelling Jesus guy with the bike or someone explaining to you how they're stuck where they are and they just need, 29 or some arbitrary amount of number that doesn't make any fucking sense to go home.
I would not. So, Lash, I would not say it's up to snuff with Fallout 3 because Fallout 3. So I would say Fallout 3 is like a 9, maybe 9.5 out of 10 game. I thought it was a masterpiece. Thought it was amazing. This game is pretty fun. I think it's pretty good. There are a lot of good things about it. Also makes a lot of mishaps that need to be remedied. Anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand. I don't want to divert.
I've got one.
Well, no. So let me finish this one. I'll let you go with yours.
But I've got a question
Okay.
relating to this. Is it up to snuff by Fallout New Vegas standards?
I liked 3 more than New Vegas. I know that most people don't, but I like 3 more than New Vegas.
Actually, I'm also in the same fan camp of 3 was better than New Vegas, but I wanted to tell that.
3 was different than New Vegas, but I
Yes.
liked 3 more. I think New Vegas was a good game. Don't get me wrong. I liked New Vegas a lot. Got all the achievements, but I liked 3 better. I think it was a more
But from
better
what I
game.
just heard, you're saying this isn't on New Vegas level.
This is a Bethesda game. This is not an Obsidian game, and as such, it is more like 3 than like New Vegas, with the writing and such.
Okay.
But anyway,
I'll buy
let's.
that for $1.
So over there, we were examining the MIT consultants and what they decided to do with the roads. But of course, as I need to teach people from out of town, as
we could have showed these people around.
as a local Bostonite from California, there are actually 2 local universities.
Holy fuck, man!
So in Cambridge,
Pissed in
in
this
the
map's asshole.
so in the city of Cambridge, which directly borders Boston by river,
Yes.
there are 2 major universities. There is the College University, and then there is the CIT, which is the Cambridge Institute of Technology. So that's
Oh, I see. Because M is long since dissipated, but the
No,
People's
so-
Republic of Cambridge has lived on forever.
right. So anyway,
People at Cambridge.
in the city of Cambridge in Massachusetts, there are 2 major universities. One of them is Cambridge University. The other one is Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
One of those is somewhere you go to recover from heroin. The other one is somewhere you go to learn how to construct heroin backwards.
Correct. Now, so this one was from the Construct Heroin Backwards people. They did a really good job. They worked with sliding around in the snow, preventing that by using gravity against the snow sliding,
Yes.
making the roads way, way safer. So this is what Cambridge University did. Now, you can see they had a really different approach to the way... Are you trying to laugh at the people from Cambridge? Yes. They're really talented engineers.
Listen, these people have gave it their all.
No, they did.
They came from challenged backgrounds, man.
I want you to stop for a minute, and I want you to come up here, and I want you to look at the roads and what the Cambridge University people have done with them.
How dare you? We drive on this every day.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they've done a really good job with this. So I want you to look and see how these stones are hanging down. They're interspaced perfectly with this asymmetrical mesh of these metal rods hanging down. So what this does actually is, it's a little bit just like the other one, where it relies on a little bit of gravity, but far less. So as you come down from that, so sometimes, depending on which way you're going, if you're going north, what you do is you just continue down the ramp down this way.
Yep.
But if you're going southbound, what you do is you careen off there and you maneuver your car just a little bit, such that you bounce onto here.
I bet you there's a speed trap right after the top of that.
You gotta trust the Mass Police will always have a speed trap. But anyway, if you're going southbound on the Mass Pike, everybody.
Waze, that's a great app.
Use Waze. But if you're going southbound on the Mass Pike, what you're going to do is you're going to careen off of that right there. You're going to get onto this. And what you're going to do, based on the Cambridge University people, is rather than careening and like spinning and making huge accidents in the snow, which is what people had done the entire time before this, is what you're going to do is you're going to get caught in these little grooves. And those tires are going to shake off all the snow in between the grooves. And the brilliant part about this is I haven't even gotten to is...
No, you're dead right. I remember the city hearing about this. Go on.
Well, we got to do this step by step. So before we're even in the middle part, what this does when it shakes off all the snow in those pipes right there, what it does is the snow rains down. It rains down on the people that are going northbound, you see.
So they can take it away from the city.
Right.
Up to New Hampshire where it fucking belongs. Right. You know, gosh, for being from California, you sure do have a pretty basic grasp of how this works.
Engineers.
Okay, so...
Working for a better tomorrow, people.
So the people make the snow rain down onto the northbound traffic because we don't care about New Hampshire and, God, we let them be buried in snow. We're better off without them.
They're godless heathens.
They are. And so then, once we're done shaking off all the snow onto the New Hampshireites down here, may God have no mercy on their souls, what we're going to do is we're going to careen over these little rocks. Notice how they have no metal grating in between them. Like, that has no metal grating. That has no metal grating. And so what that does is it makes the tires sufficiently bumpy to shake out the last bits of snow from in between the treads.
Right.
And then the car will bump just right down there.
You're just going to change your approach. That's all.
But so the thing is that the car will actually slant. You are going to come down there, and it will slant such that the front tires are up there and the down tires are down here. So what you need to do is push really hard on your gas, and in order to get up that hill.
Punch it, Batman. You're out.
Right. And you really need to give the Cambridge designers credit for this, because one of the brilliant things that they did with this is that they made it so that the cars that had the necessary torque to do that, they could continue southbound, whereas the ones that didn't, they would have to continue on to New Hampshire, because we don't want them here.
Survival of the fittest, yes.
All right.
Actually, I thoroughly agree with every minute of that, and yes, that's the way it happened.
It is.
As a Cambridge historian, I can say this is true.
I know. That's why I'm teaching it. I don't teach false histories.
No, that's exactly why they did. We don't need your kind here if you're not going to play ball.
True story. So let's continue with our lesson. Let me do a quick save in case any of this gets lost. Because God forbid we lose any history.
I'm glad that I chose better of myself to start naming people.
Right.
I'll continue to make that decision for the rest of the night.
So notice this. Now, what is the first thing? Like, let's get hands raised around the room. When you see this truck right here, what is the first thing you think? Like, what do you think happened to this truck?
What do I think happened to him?
Yeah, what do you think happened?
Oh gosh, I know what happened to this poor guy.
What do you think happened? Because I bet it's not what you think.
No. This man here.
He was enjoying too much freedom.
He had too much freedom, but
you're not
right. Because we're not in New Hampshire.
We're not in New Hampshire.
This is southbound.
See, he's coming back in.
Right, he's going into the true freedom, away from New Hampshire.
Not to live free.
Correct.
He was judged.
That's what
right.
you think. But so...
The powers that be judged him.
So this is what happens when New Hampshire gets angry. Anyway.
See? The powers that be judged him harshly. He probably stepped out of his truck pulled over safely to the shoulder and went to go check what was wrong. Was immediately smitten by a car that went by. Turned into paste. Absolutely no point of calling an ambulance. No one bothered because why? You look like someone just painted a new red lane.
So we
consider that the HOV lane.
So we've gotten a couple different opinions on what happened to this truck, and there are a couple of really good guesses, but you guys also aren't local, so I get why you think that. But, so let me explain to you...
I'm drunk a lot, so I'll accept that.
Right, so let me explain to you what actually happened with this truck.
Okay, feed it on me.
Now, so, look at this truck. Can you see any engine in there? Do you see... Now look in here, do you see any bulbs in those lights?
Oh.
Do you see any driver amenities in there? You just see a basic wheel. You don't see things like AC, you don't see things like radio.
Yeah, I think this man may have been pulled over by the police.
No, you're still not. You're still not following. But like, let me keep going because you're still not following, and I get that because you're out of town and it's not your fault. But so what you gotta look because this had no driver comforts. Especially people who are truck drivers, they drive all the way across the country. They even have to go to New Hampshire sometimes. They need the utmost comforts. They need things like proper headlights in the headlight sockets. They need things like engines. So what we're gonna do, if we are truckers, is have all those things.
Of course.
This guy, however, this
can't
truck,
drive unsafe.
this truck, it had none of those things.
No.
So, what do you think happened? Well, let me tell you. This is not actually a truck. What this is a fixture here.
Oh, this was an example.
No.
This is like
A
monument almost.
Not an example. This was a piece of engineering, additionally engineered by the Cambridge engineers for this section of bridge. So what this is...
Get the fuck out.
Right. So they installed it here, and they made it specifically on this side, because you see right there's that little divide between the right and the left lanes, and you can be in either one coming up here, right? So the thing is, we have way too much crowding that's going on in Boston right now. I-95 is always crowded. I-93 is always crowded. 44 gets worse and worse by the month. And the Cambridge people decided that we weren't going to be able to put a handle on it anymore.
Nope, no more.
So what they decided to do when they were installing this new section of bridge is they decided to put this truck on it. And from back there, when you were moving it at a high speed, you would think, oh, it's just a slow truck. And you would be impressed that it made it up there. But the thing is, all the smart people would realize that that was a stopped truck, and they should get the hell out of the right lane and into the left ones to get around the stopped truck. So all of the stupid people who they wouldn't want to be clogging up the 95 and the 93 and the 44 anyway, they would have them stay in the right lane, and then they would get backed up behind this fake truck because they were so stupid, and then they would have them fall down and go north into New Hampshire. So all the people they actually wanted going into Boston.
Oh my god, gosh.
They would stay.
This is what we spent those billions of dollars on the big
They would
for.
stay in the left lane and they would continue up here.
This is what we spent those billions of dollars for.
Right,
My
right.
fucking god.
So,
Genius knows no bounds.
Yeah.
Those were not ceiling tiles that fell by accident. In fact, the elderly couple killed by those probably didn't believe in Jesus, and if not, if they did, Jesus saw them touch themselves or do something adulterous. They probably drank, okay?
I heard that they had fake lights installed in their car. Anyway, so let's continue with our tour of the
point
Boston
is,
highway system.
You did something to deserve this. No one's innocent.
So here, now tell us what you think of this.
Ooh,
That's one of the MIT engineers.
yeah.
This is what's called a hazing ritual.
This is what's called a hazing ritual.
Now for... no, so I'll show you the turf war later, because that's an entirely different subject.
That's a smooth right there.
This is how to No, they were measuring this big bridge in smoots.
But so what this is...
This is the measurement of one smoot. Here is John fucking Smoot, right there in the flesh.
Yeah, and they lined him up head to toe with himself.
See?
So
It's
I get
up
why
to you to finish the measurement. That's a side quest that
So,
isn't actually
again-
marked in your inventory or anything.
So again, you guys aren't from here. There's a solid guesses. I get why those are things that might happen where you're from, and I don't blame you at all. However, what happened here clearly was this was a hazing ritual. So this is an MIT engineer. This was clearly committed by a new class of Cambridge engineers. So every single year, when the new class of Cambridge engineers comes on and is actually ready to stop being freshmen and start working on projects like this highway,
Yes, Kyle.
the old senior ones who actually conducted this highway building, they will have them steal a MIT engineer from their houses and dump them unceremoniously dead with their throat slit. You can see, if you look close enough,
You can.
on their highways that they built. Now, this is great. It's good for morale among the Cambridgians. It's also really bad for morale among the MITians.
I actually knew
because
there
the
was a
thing is-
reason that I had half a wood.
Well, no, so here's the thing. Not only do the MIT people wake up and never find their guys dead on the highway, and they're, like, upset because they're missing, but also the thing is, MIT section of highway, which is all the way over there, the MIT engineers, they have way too much pride. They get off as soon as they go down that, because they don't want to touch the Cambridge one, so they will actually never, ever discover that body. It's really sad. It's a permanent missing person case, because none of the Cambridge people are ever going to report it. None of the people...
Like, fuck anyone from East Boston would ever bother touching that.
Well, and so the thing is, all the people coming into Boston, they would see that, but all the people coming into Boston relate to Ted Kennedy, who also doesn't report dead bodies. So it just wouldn't happen. Thanks for the follow, not too. This is our regular programming every day, if you were wondering.
Yep. All right, Kyle, I'm gonna go out for my damn cigarette break.
And I'm gonna pee. We'll be back in 5.